If you want to see your nails go from this to this, you have to watch this episode. Most seniors assume brittle nails, splitting edges and ridges are simply part of aging. But the evidence tells a very different story. Because a large analysis published in the Journal of the American Academy of Dermatology, involving more than 5,000 adults over 60, found that over 50% of persistent age-related nail deterioration is caused by the body's reduced ability to process the nutrients nails rely on. And that is something you can change straight after finishing this episode. Welcome back to the Senior Health Podcast, where East meets West to help you age with confidence. In today's episode, Japan's oldest doctor is giving you the #1 nail tip to help reverse brittleness, ridges, and splitting after 60. In fact, he is sitting in front of me right now. Doctor, what can our listeners look forward to in this conversation?
This episode is a true gift to seniors wanting to change their nail appearance. I will reveal the overlooked nutrient signal that almost no doctor explains clearly to older adults, as well as the everyday foods that rebuild nail structure naturally and support stronger nails from within. And to everyone listening, stay with me. I promise you will hear the most valuable tip I know from nearly a century of watching how aging changes the nail structure and strength.
I am sure this will be worth listening to. I was reading a long-term investigation from the Tokyo Institute of Nutrition, where seniors who nourished their nails through a few targeted meals each week began noticing less cracking, fewer splits, and softer ridges before the year was even over. It is inspiring how the nails quietly rebuild themselves.
Fascinating indeed. When we give our body the right input, it is able to do much more than we think. So before we start, I want some interaction from everyone in the comments again to see how important this episode is for you. Please comment a 1 if you are dealing with brittle nails, splitting or ridges on your nails, and comment a 2 if you have no experience but want to prevent it as you get older.
And this will help everyone see they are not alone. I know many seniors who had these nail changes sooner than they expected. So let's dive in. What is this #1 vitamin tip everyone needs to hear about?
The reason nails change so dramatically after 60, John, is that the body slowly loses its efficiency in delivering nutrients to the nail matrix. And as that happens, the keratin layers grow thinner, more fragile, and more uneven. Of course, many seniors assume it is only age, yet it is more about how the body processes vitamins and minerals over time. When that system slows, the nails are the first to reveal it.
I hear that from patients all the time, especially when they say their nails suddenly became different from one year to the next. It always surprises them that such a small change can reflect so much happening internally.
Yes, and when we look closely, the story becomes even clearer. The nail root depends on steady nutritional signals, not occasional bursts, and when those signals weaken, brittleness and ridges follow naturally. I often remind seniors that the nail grows in silence, but it records everything. And that record tells us when the body is struggling to keep up with its protein structures.
That really helps people understand why these changes feel so sudden, even though the process has been developing quietly beneath the surface for years.
Exactly, and this brings us to something very important, John. If we want stronger, smoother nails, we must understand which nutrients begin slipping first and how to restore them gently.
I'm really curious where you're going with that, because it sounds like there are a few critical players we tend to overlook as we age. And I imagine most seniors have no idea these missing pieces are connected to the nail problems they struggle with.
Well, let's begin with the simplest truth. Nails weaken after 60 because the body struggles to turn nutrients into the proteins that form each layer. Even when seniors eat well, the conversion process slows, and the nails grow thinner than they should. That is why biotin, calcium, and the B vitamins become so essential. They are the cofactors that tell the nail to build itself properly. And when those cofactors fade, the nail shows every missing step.
I hear seniors describe that exact shift all the time, especially when they start noticing ridges or a sudden increase in breakage. It always feels mysterious to them, but the way you explain it gives it a lot more clarity.
Yes, and the key here is that the nail is mostly keratin, which depends on enzymes that cannot function without minerals and B vitamins. When biotin is low, the nail grows soft and vulnerable. When calcium drops, the nail splits because it cannot hold its layers together. And when protein metabolism slows, every small deficiency becomes visible on the surface.
That makes so much sense now, and it explains why even tiny nutritional gaps can create such dramatic changes in the nail.
Exactly. And understanding this brings us to a very practical place. There is a simple daily practice that helps the nail root absorb these nutrients more efficiently, and most seniors have never heard of it.
That definitely caught my attention, and I imagine listeners are leaning in right now. What kind of practice could make such a difference for nails that have been struggling for years?
In Japan, we often start with the simplest intervention, and for nails that intervention is warmth plus minerals delivered directly to the nail root. A rice-bran soak does this beautifully because the bran releases natural B vitamins and gentle oils into the water. And when the nails sit in that mixture, they absorb what age has slowly taken away.
That sounds incredibly soothing already.
It is, and more importantly, it gives seniors immediate feedback. Within a few soaks, the nail surface softens just enough to stop cracking, and the ridges feel less sharp. Over time, those nutrients make the nail bed more responsive to the foods we eat.
I love that it is gentle enough for anyone to try, and it also feels deeply traditional. It reminds me of how many healing practices were born from simple ingredients people had in their kitchens.
Exactly, and rice bran has been used for centuries to support hair, skin, and nails because the outer layer of the grain is packed with biotin, niacin, and trace minerals. When warmed in water, these nutrients loosen and drift into the soak, creating a subtle infusion the nails respond to quickly. Even seniors with very fragile nails can tolerate it without irritation, and if they repeat it a few times each week, the nail slowly regains flexibility and strength.
That gentle rebuilding is what so many older adults are missing. They often think they need something harsh or complicated.
Yes, and this is why the practice works. It restores softness first, so the nail can grow without splitting. Only then do we see the deeper improvements like reduced ridge depth or stronger edges. Even 5 to 10 minutes of soaking can make the surface more resilient, and once the nail feels that support, the cracks that seemed impossible to heal begin to settle down.
Hearing this, I can imagine so many listeners feeling hopeful. It's a small step, but it carries weight because it feels doable.
It does, and that small step opens the door to something even more important. The nail can only keep improving if the food behind it changes too, and this is where many seniors underestimate what their meals can do.
And now you really have my full attention. If this soak is just the beginning, I want to understand what the next layer looks like and how food actually strengthens the nail from within.
Then let me explain. When we shift from surface care to food, we finally work with the nail's architecture instead of against it, and the body responds quickly once those missing minerals and B vitamins reach the matrix where each new layer is formed.
That makes sense, and it explains why creams alone never seem to solve the deeper problems.
Exactly. The nail is built inside the body, not on top of it, so every improvement depends on what reaches that root. And I hear so often from seniors that once they adjust even a few foods, the nail begins to grow smoother, steadier, and less prone to splitting.
It is reassuring to know they do not need dramatic changes. Sometimes the smallest nutritional shifts create the biggest visible differences.
They do, and that brings us to a very important moment, because one food in particular gives the nail a kind of mineral foundation most older adults are missing, and it works more quietly than people expect.
Don't make us wait any longer. What food are we talking about?
Seaweed is a beautiful place to begin because it carries the trace minerals the nail bed depends on but often loses with age. It offers iodine, magnesium, and natural B vitamins in a form the body can use gently and steadily. And when those minerals return, the keratin layers often regain their firmness far sooner than people expect.
That makes perfect sense, especially because so many seniors are unknowingly low in those minerals. It sounds like seaweed brings back something the nails have been quietly missing for years.
Yes, and what I love about it is how accessible it is. Even a small sheet of nori or a spoonful of wakame in soup can nudge the system forward. The nails recognize that support almost immediately because minerals are part of their daily repair cycle.
I can imagine many listeners feeling relieved to hear it's something simple they can add today.
Of course, and this simplicity is what makes it powerful. The body does not need excess. It needs steadiness. And seaweed is a steady mineral source in a world where many seniors struggle to absorb enough from their regular meals.
That already paints a very hopeful picture for anyone dealing with thinning or weakened nails.
Then let me share something that might surprise our listeners. In Japan, we sometimes call seaweed the quiet builder because its effects show slowly but consistently, especially in tissues that depend on fine mineral rhythms. And there is another food that carries this same building power, but in a very different way.
I'm intrigued by that, and now I'm wondering what kind of food could match that strength without overwhelming the body. What is the next one that deserves attention?
Black sesame is the next food on the list, and it offers something seaweed cannot. It brings calcium, zinc, and B vitamins together in a form the nail matrix absorbs surprisingly well. And when seniors add even a spoonful a day, the nail bed often begins to feel more stable, less fragile, almost as if the layers finally know how to hold together again.
That's remarkable, especially because many people think of sesame as just a garnish. Hearing you describe it this way gives it a whole new weight.
Yes, and the key here is that black sesame supports two systems at once. It feeds the minerals that strengthen the nail plate, and it supports the small enzymes that shape keratin itself. When both are nourished, the nail has a real chance to rebuild instead of just coping.
It's interesting how such a small food can influence something so structural.
I hear that a lot, and it always makes me smile. Many seniors underestimate these traditional foods, yet they have been used for generations precisely because they work slowly and deeply. When nails split or peel, this kind of nourishment can be the difference between temporary relief and real progress.
That really helps people understand the value of these foods in a way that feels practical and hopeful.
Then consider this, John. There is one more food, very old and very humble, that Japan has relied on for nail strength long before supplements existed, and it has a property none of the others can match.
That just pulled me forward in my chair. If there's a food with a unique benefit, I want to know what makes it so special and why it endured for so long.
It is a food we have discussed before in previous episodes. In Japan, one of the oldest and most trusted foods for nail strength is fermented soybean, especially natto, because it delivers minerals and B vitamins in a form the body can use with almost no strain. And what makes it remarkable is how it nourishes the nail matrix gently but consistently, almost like feeding a small engine that has been underpowered for years. It brings a kind of steadiness to the growth cycle that many seniors do not realize they have been missing.
That genuinely surprises me. Natto seems so simple, yet the way you describe it makes it sound like a quiet tool the body has wanted all along.
Yes, and that is exactly how it works. Fermentation unlocks nutrients that support both strength and flexibility, which is important because nails that are too hard crack just as easily as nails that are too soft. Over time, seniors often notice their nails stop peeling at the edges and begin growing with a smoother curve, which is one of the first signs The internal environment is changing.
It makes sense hearing you say it like that. When a food supports multiple layers of the nail at once, the results must feel different.
Of course, and what I love most is that natto, or even a mild fermented rice drink like amazake, offers a kind of nourishment that reaches deeper than people expect. It supports the delicate proteins that form the nail's foundation, and it helps the body actually hold on to the minerals it takes in. For seniors who feel their nails have been thinning for years, this can feel like the first time something is finally working with their body, not against it.
That's a powerful shift, especially for anyone who has tried creams or buffers without seeing any real change. Hearing there's a food that works from within gives them hope that their nails can still recover.
And hope matters here because everything we have talked about so far builds toward one final idea. There is a timing principle for nutrients that most people have never heard of, yet it decides whether nails stay brittle or begin rebuilding. Once seniors understand this timing, the entire story of nail strength suddenly becomes much clearer.
That has me intrigued. If timing changes how the body uses these nutrients, I want to know how that rhythm works and why it becomes so important after 60.
John, everything we have discussed leads to one truth. Nails do not strengthen in sudden leaps. They strengthen in daily minutes. Seniors who rebuild their nails are not relying on rare, high doses of nutrients. They are building a rhythm the body can trust again, and that rhythm is what restores the nail matrix.
So the body is listening for a steady pattern, not a big push that comes and goes.
Exactly, and this is where the timing matters more than people realize. The most effective moment for seniors to take their calcium is between 4 and 6 in the afternoon, paired with a small amount of B vitamins that help the body guide calcium into the nail bed. A gentle dose works best, usually around 300 to 400 milligrams of a well-absorbed calcium form taken at the same time every day.
That makes the whole idea feel much more practical, a window they can remember, a dose that does not overwhelm them.
And once that timing becomes a habit, something remarkable happens. The nail cells begin receiving a calm, predictable signal, and that steadiness is what tells them to thicken, smooth, and repair. Irregular intake never sends that message. Only consistency resets what I call the nail clock.
It is almost reassuring to hear that rebuilding does not require force, just a pattern the body understands.
Reassuring and freeing, John. Seniors do not need complicated routines. They need a daily cue delivered at the right hour, in the right amount, so the nail matrix finally feels supported again.
It makes me wonder how long that clock has been paused for some people, and how quickly it might start turning forward once they get this timing right.
More quickly than they expect. And once they feel it, the entire understanding of nail aging changes.
Beautiful. Let's end it here. To everyone that finished this episode, you just set the first step. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and come back tomorrow for our new episode. Oh, and watch this next video right now.
Yes, please.
We've picked this one especially for you.